Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly pop culture wrap-up. That's right everybody, welcome to the weekly pop culture wrap-up. It is the show where I go over the week's pop culture news, mostly comic books and movies, not a lot of comic book news, so let's start off with some movie news. First of all, Ben Affleck, no longer Batman. It is official. This has been the slowest resignation of a role ever, right? Say what you will about Ben Affleck's performance as Batman. Some people love it, some people hate it. I really love Ben Affleck's portrayal of the Dark Knight / Bruce Wayne in Batman vs. Superman. I really do. In Justice League, not so much. I feel like he was phoning it in. I feel like he wasn't really all there. He wasn't really all in, as the tagline suggested for Justice League. So I think it's a good move. First of all, the controversy. All the controversy, so many people automatically hating it just because it's Ben Affleck, that's fine. Get him out of the role, and now you got something else, right? So Matt Reeves is still doing his The Batman movie. It's going to be inspired by film noir, detective stories from like the 40s and stuff like that. And it's going to focus on a younger Batman, so Batman's going to be recast. So like I said, I love Affleck as Batman in BVS. I do not like him in Justice League. I think it was flat. I think it was uninspired. I think he was just done with the role. And it's just been this slow, steady progress until we finally get to this point where we know for sure now Ben Affleck is out as Batman. So now that leads us to the next question. Who should the next Batman be? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, we got the new Birds of Prey teaser that released this week. I can't honestly pretend to be that excited for Birds of Prey. I love the character of Cassandra Cain. I love Huntress. Black Canary's pretty cool. You see snippets of them in the brief little teaser. And the reason why they do these little teasers now way before they should is because they know they're about to start filming. They know they're going to have all these paparazzi photos and photos from just fans and things like that, right? So they know that these things are going to get leaked. So they want to kind of control that. Does that make sense? So as much as I love those characters that are going to be central to the Birds of Prey, and the little bit that we get in the trailer, you get like Renee Montoya in there, so that's cool. I love these characters. Ultimately, this is a vehicle for Harley Quinn, which is kind of bad because historically Harley Quinn's never been part of the Birds of Prey. I mean, that's always been, you know, Barbara Gordon, Black Canary, and Huntress, and then a few others, but never Harley Quinn. So it's just a vehicle for Harley, but it is going to be cool to see Cassandra in a movie, right? Is that? And it's going to be cool to see Huntress and Black Canary, but it's Harley. But I don't know, the little bit that you see, it does seem like, if you notice real close up on her tattoo that says like Harley and Puddin's crossed out, so maybe they're trying to go into more of a role of agency for Harley Quinn. But I'm not a Harley Quinn fan, so I can't be that excited for this movie. Just on principle, just because, right? But I really do like Cassandra Cain, so I'm kind of torn. So I'll watch it. But I'm not really that excited about it because this is going to be a Harley Quinn movie. Straight up, I think. So anyway, James Gunn, we know that he is writing the new Suicide Squad movie for DC and Warner Brothers. It's going to be called The Suicide Squad. The Batman, The Suicide Squad. I'm pretty sure we're about to find out that the sequel to Aquaman is going to be announced, and it's going to be The Aquaman, right? I don't know. It seems a little silly to reboot Suicide Squad that quickly, but apparently it's what James Gunn wanted to do. He's in talks right now to direct it. I think one of the smartest things that Warner Brothers has done is after Disney ousted James Gunn from Guardians 3, they snatched him up and they put him on something like Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad always wanted to be what James Gunn's Guardian was. So I'm excited for this. I think James Gunn is a very talented writer and director. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. They're doing this Birds of Prey movie, so it makes me think that this Suicide Squad movie is not going to be a vehicle for Harley Quinn. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. I would love to see some Deadshot, and I would even like to see Will Smith come back as Deadshot, just in a better film, something like that. So that is coming out. But the real sad thing is they gave James Gunn apparently the option on any superhero that he wanted to do at DC. So we could have had a James Gunn Superman movie. Apparently that was the ones they were trying to push on him, but he didn't want to do that one. He went with Suicide Squad instead. Maybe it's because he's producing and writing or co-writing the Brightburn movie that's coming out soon. It's kind of like what if Superman was evil and bad, right? So that's kind of cool. Super Mario Brothers, they just announced there's an animated film. It's going to be coming out in 2022, so it is a ways off, but it's time, I think, far past time for the Super Mario Brothers, Mario and Luigi, and the company, to finally make it to the big screen again. And I think an animated film is probably the best way to go. Though I will say that I have a little bit of a fondness for the Dennis Hopper, Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo movie. I really, really do. In fact, we're doing an audience choice movie review for February, and right now on the PCP Army page, our official Facebook group for Pop Culture Philosophers, the PCP Army, pinned at the top is a poll right now for you to choose which movie we do. Super Mario Brothers from back in the 90s, that's one of them. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Demolition Man, and the winning movie right now, Masters of the Universe, the 1987 one. But Super Mario Brothers is in there, so get on the PCP Army and represent what you think we should do. Speaking of animated films, they're doing a DC Super Pets animated film for 2021. That sounds cool. Crypto, Comet, and all the other super animals and all the other animals, the Super Pets. You know, they did this line of all ages young readers books a while ago, and sure, I'm down with it. You know, movies like The Secret Life of Pets, they hit hard. People love them. Yeah, let's throw some superhero animals in there, right? I'm down for that one. The Hobbs and Shaw trailer debuted this week. And, you know, I don't watch these Fast and the Furious movies. I haven't seen any of them after part 2. I haven't even seen Tokyo Drift. I haven't seen any of the ones on. I hear they got really fun. I hear they really got good, right? I'm kind of excited for this Hobbs and Shaw movie. The trailer's really, really good. Jason Statham and Dwayne Johnson kind of have this really cool, like, Lethal Weapon type vibe going on there, and I really like that. It seems very fun. It seems very action-oriented. The action looks incredibly insane. And Idris Elba as the bad guy, as Brixton, that looks good. And that's the closest we're getting, aside from Heimdall, I guess, of Elba as a superhero right now. Though I did see something on Twitter that someone suggested Elba for Darkseid. That's genius. That's genius. Absolutely, right? Zack Snyder's announced his new film. It's going to be called Army of the Dead. It's going to be on Netflix. I have always said this throughout my life. I always wanted to make a zombie film back in the day. I feel like the time for zombie films is past. I feel like the trend is in the death throes right now. But Army of the Dead is always the title that I really suggested. I was like, well, nobody's ever done an Army of the Dead. Like, you should do that. And you can make it about the military if you wanted to, or you don't have to. Anyway, that's what Zack Snyder's doing, returning to zombie fiction, which he kind of launched his filmmaking career with the remake of Dawn of the Dead. And when Dawn of the Dead was announced as a remake, I was so against it. I was like, don't remake Romero's Dawn of the Dead. That movie's untouchable. The movie's great. The movie stands where it is, and it's in its place, and in its time, and in its context. It's brilliant. Why are you going to remake it, right? And I really like Snyder's remake of that, right? I really, really do. It seems like Snyder has been able to pull off movies that shouldn't work. Things like 300, Watchmen, and Dawn of the Dead, a remake of it, right? At least in my opinion. So I'm kind of excited for this. This is going to be a Netflix movie, so be on the lookout for that. Speaking of zombie films, maybe a little bit too late, 10 years too late, maybe 8 years too late. Zombieland 2 has officially announced its title and poster, which mimics the original poster. The original cast is back. Zombieland Double Tap. And it comes out this October officially. So super excited to check that out. Zombieland was a great film. But like I said, this whole zombie thing's kind of in its death throes. Like, it's like the zombie trend is undead now. It's basically a zombie. Like, get what I'm saying? Something like that, right? CBS All Access has ordered a Stand miniseries. The Stand, the Stephen King book. An amazing book, an amazing story with rich characters with this giant epic story. And yeah, they did a mini-series back in the 90s with Gary Sinise, Molly Ringwald, amongst others. And as much as I enjoy that series, and I really think that the only thing that's legitimately good in that mini-series is the first episode, I think it's really cheesy, very Hallmarky, if that makes sense. So I'm very excited for a more scary, more down... more like into the book, like more faithful adaptation. 10 episodes on CBS All Access. I'm down for that. I think that's a fantastic idea. ABC has ordered a pilot of Stumptown, which is based on a Greg Rucka crime fiction comic book. Couldn't be more excited for this news. We need more Greg Rucka works adapted into film and television. Things like Whiteout, which did get made into a movie, but it was really, really, really bad. But imagine if Queen and Country was a television series. Stumptown is an amazing book. If you haven't read it, I highly encourage you to check it out. And the one bit of comic book news that I got is that Benjamin Percy and Juan Ferreira, who's currently right now just tearing it up on Killmonger, they're going to be doing Moon Knight. But they're not launching a new Moon Knight book. When I first read this article, I thought, oh man, we're getting a new Moon Knight book from Percy and Juan. And Juan's artwork on Killmonger is so amazing. I want this guy to do Moon Knight. I want him in particular to do Mr. Knight. How awesome would that be? But this is just going to be one of the short stories in Marvel Presents #4 in April. So not really that big of a deal, but kind of cool. Juan's artwork has been amazing on Killmonger. I really like this cat. I think he did some work on Old Man Logan with Ed Brisson. Fantastic coloring, fantastic work, love it, very excited because my Moon Knight is Warren Ellis's Mr. Knight and I want to see more of that. So that's what I got for you this week. What do we got coming up here at PCP? Well, first of all, no Robbie Rants live tonight because it is the Super Bowl. My pick for the Super Bowl are the Rams by 10 points. We'll see what happens. I only make that pick not because I've studied film or I've studied the rosters or paid attention to these teams like wholeheartedly, just because I don't want the Patriots to win. But if you want the Patriots to win and they win, good luck to you. There you go, right? But I'm picking Rams by 10. So if it happens, I'm going to tell everybody that I called it right here. Anyway, the weekly comic book review will be late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. Hopefully no delays in the shipment this week. That's what we got coming out for you this week. Comics Revisited returns the following week with our first ever audience pick for Comics Revisited Kingdom Come. Me and Jolene talking about Kingdom Come in 2 weeks, about a week and a half actually from where we're at. So thank you guys so much for your support. We really do appreciate everything here at Pop Culture Philosophers. Join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and a whole lot more. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And check us out coming up in March 9th and 10th in Huntsville, Alabama. We will be attending, having a booth and a panel, and just all over the place at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. So be on the lookout for that. We really do appreciate everything. Let me know in the comments below any comments you have about anything I talked about tonight or anything that we didn't mention, and straight up, who should be the next Batman? Let me know. I want to hear your picks. So thank you guys so much for rocking with us. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups. Keep on living. That's right, everybody. Welcome to the weekly pop culture wrap-up. It's the show where I go over the week's pop culture news, mostly comic books and movies. Let's get right into it. Not a lot of comic book blah, blah, blah. That's right, everybody. Welcome to the weekly pop culture. That's right.